Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and I am here with another character breakdown of the underrated mutants of the Marvel Universe. So, today, I can't believe I have not discussed her before because I really like her as a character. I want to talk about Tabitha Smith, aka Boom Boom. Tabitha Smith first appeared in Marvel Comics Secret Wars 2, number 5 in 1985. The character was created by Jim Shooter and artist Al Milgrom. Boom Boom has also appeared under different code names like Time Bomb, Boomer, and Meltdown, and has been a member of several teams including X-Force, the New Mutants, and X-Factor. Tabitha was born in Roanoke, Virginia. When she first shows up, she's portrayed as a rebellious but otherwise typical teenager. Her parents are divorced, and when her mutant powers kicked in at age 13, their reaction was anything but supportive, as it usually goes. But in this case, her dad actually beat the brakes off her, which is not how it usually goes, and that's really sad. That's when she runs away from home, calls herself Time Bomb, and ends up crossing paths with a Beyonder, a cosmic being. He takes her to Charles Xavier at the School of For Gifted Youngsters, but Xavier brushes her off because he's busy dealing with the Beyonder himself. Apparently, the Beyonder is a problem. Feeling abandoned again, Tabitha almost takes her own life, but the Beyonder stops her and brings her along his cosmic journey. Eventually, after a run-in with the Celestials and at her urging, he brings her back to Earth. She ends up helping the Avengers ambush the Beyonder, and when she realizes he felt betrayed, especially by her, she walks away from the battle. It was pretty crappy, let's be honest. Now homeless, Tabitha gets mixed up with a guy named Maurice Tiger Antonini. Things go dark when he threatens her and offs her best friend Gina. She snaps, uses her powers, and offs him. After that, a villain called the Vanisher brings her into his group of thieves known as the Fallen Angels. She officially takes on the codename Boom Boom at this point. Eventually, she turns against the Vanisher and brings in X-Factor to stop him. She sticks with X-Factor after that. One of her old teammates, Ariel, an alien, kidnaps the angels to her home planet so the scientists can experiment on them. But Ariel changes her mind and helps them escape, which is okay. Once they are back on Earth, the group splits up. Not long after, Tabitha gets kidnapped by the Right, an anti-mutant organization. She escapes with the help of X-Factor and other mutants. Later, she joins the X-Factor trainees to form a new team called the X-Terminators. They battle demons during the Nastier invasion, and during that time, Tabitha talks Richter out of taking his own life. After the Inferno storyline wraps up, Tabitha, along with Rusty, Skids, and Richter, joins the New Mutants. During her time with them, Tabitha falls madly in love with her teammate Cannonball. If you'd like to know more about Cannonball, just check out my channel because I have a breakdown for him too. While they're in Asgard, it's partly thanks to Tabitha that they managed to foil a plot to assassinate Odin. They also meet Cable, who starts mentoring the team, and under his guidance, Tabitha starts gaining better control of her powers. She's later kidnapped by Strife and the Mutant Liberation Front, but gets rescued. Then, the Extinction Agenda crossover. The anti-mutant nation of Genosha launches attacks on mutants in the US, and Tabitha, along with Richter, Wolfsbane, and Warlock, gets captured and taken there. The incident hits the news, and her father is interviewed, still voicing his disappointment in her. Although Tabitha and Richter are stripped of their powers, they manage to escape. Unfortunately, Wolfsbane is turned into a mutant slave, and Warlock does not survive. On the run in Genosha, Tabitha and Richter meet Jubilee. The two clash at first because of their similar personalities, but they eventually make it to the Genosian Citadel, where the X-teams regroup to defeat the villain Cameron Hodge. Back in the US, Tabitha spreads Warlock's ashes over the grave of his best friend Doug Ramsey. If you are interested in Doug Ramsey, I highly recommend checking out the current events X-Men Age of Revelation. I always want to say Revolution, but it's Revelation. It's pretty good so far. The New Mutants, now led by Cable, transform into X-Force, a more aggressive team. During this period, Tabitha acts on her feelings for Cannonball, and the two start dating. Despite questioning the team's more violent direction, she sticks around and rebrands herself as Boomer. One of their early missions have them battling the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. In the Executioner's Song event, which is like, it's a good event, I really dug it. The X-Men suspect X-Force of trying to assassinate Professor X and goes after them. Boomer ends up getting defeated by Rogue and taken for prisoner by X-Factor. After X-Force is jailed, Cannonball is allowed to pick one teammate to fight alongside the X-Men, and he chooses Tabitha. During the mission, they find out that Rusty and Skids have joined the MLF. In a battle, Skid breaks Tabitha's jaw. Afterward, Cannonball's ex, Lila Cheney, shows up to give her blessing to the couple. Things got serious when Cannonball takes Tabitha to his family farm for a vacation. There, they end up facing the Games Master and the Upstarts and team up with the New Warriors to take them down. Things get rough when their base is blown up twice. With nowhere to go, the team moves into Xavier's mansion. Soon after, Cannonball joins the X-Men full-time, and his relationship with Tabitha cools off. Feeling lost, Tabitha spends most of her time taking care of a seemingly brain-damaged Sabretooth, even confiding in him. The rest of the team tries to stage an intervention. It all blows up when Sabretooth reveals he's actually been faking it, tricks Tabitha into freeing him, and then brutally attacks Psylocke during his escape, nearly taking her out completely. Crushed by guilt, Tabitha goes home to see her father. They start to make amends, but during the battle involving Sebastian Shaw and the Holocaust, her father gets critically hurt. The weight of it all pushes Tabitha to reinvent herself again. She changes her codename to Meltdown this time, comes up with a new costume, and gains better control of her powers and adopts a tougher, more confident attitude. She really shows this off when she faces up against the Blob, threatens to off him, and uses her time bombs to blast both his eardrums. While Cannonball is off with the X-Men, Tabitha gets closer to Sunspot, and they have a very short fling. Cannonball eventually finds out. He is upset at first, but ends up making peace with both of them and even rejoins the X-Force. Later on, the High Evolutionary temporarily shuts down all mutant powers. Tabitha and Cannonball nearly rekindle their relationship. In the meantime, the sudden loss of powers really hit Cannonball hard. It made him realize just how little they'd actually been doing to help mutant kind lately. So he reached out to Pete Wisdom. The two of them came up with a plan to bring X-Force back, but this time as a covert strike team. Meltdown, along with Warpath and Bedlam, agreed to join in on this new mission. They all moved into an old abandoned Hulkbuster base in Nevada and went through intense retraining, both in combat and in using their powers more effectively. Tabitha, in particular, learned how to shape the explosive energy of her powers into controlled, guided streams, and she also got a crash course in computer hacking and digital espionage. This new version of X-Force took on the shadowy fights that no one else even knew were happening, dealing with enemies like flesh-grown stormtroopers, mutagenic bioreactors, and assassins who literally carried the mutant gene for murder. Things got especially intense when they faced the last group, and Tabitha almost lost Sam, who's Cannonball. That shook her up enough to admit that she couldn't stand the thought of losing him, and the two of them ended up getting back together. Even though they pulled off most of their missions, it definitely wasn't smooth sailing. Wisdom was apparently killed during their first mission back in San Francisco, and more than once their enemies tried to take them out with massive explosions. The whole undercover team thing ended up backfiring too. A brand new group of mutants showed up, and people were more interested in fame and fortune than the cause. They bought the legal rights to the name X-Force. They went public with it, got super popular super fast, and at the time of the original team found out and confronted them about stealing the name, the original mission behind it, it was already too late. After that, it seems like the original X-Force quietly disbanded and pulled back from their aggressive stance on mutant issues. Sam and Tabitha went their separate ways too. They're very, very hot and cold throughout their whole relationship, or friendship. Their whole thing, they're very hot and cold. Later on, Cable picked up on signs that a revamped Weapon X program was back, one that was capturing mutants and locking them up in a place called Neverland. So he put together a new group to investigate, calling it the Underground, and he brought Meltdown in as part of his elite team. Eventually, they were joined by Brent Jackson, a Weapon X agent who was secretly plotting to overthrow the director of the program. Jackson even formed his own little resistance group with fellow agents like Washout, Marrow, Wildchild, and Soren. But after pulling off the coup, Jackson double-crossed Cable's team and had their memories of the whole thing erased or altered. Not long after that, Cable found out about a whole new threat to mutants, a monstrous creature called the Scorn that could endanger the entire Earth. He brought X-Force back together to deal with it, and Meltdown was one of the first people he called. Both Cannonball and Sunspot were also involved in the battle, but Tabitha didn't really express any lingering feelings for either of them. Instead, she showed off a new move with her powers. She was able to channel one of her time bombs through Shatterstar's sword and directly into an enemy's chest, which was pretty dope. After they defeated the Scorn, some of the team stayed together and helped Cable run things in Providence, the island nation he had created. Later, Tabitha helped them raid the headquarters of the Black Box, only to find out that the occupant was just a robot. She was also one of the rare mutants who still had the powers after the whole M-Day event. It was kind of a big deal if you don't know about it. Definitely check it out. After that, Tabitha seemed to go through a bit of a personality shift. At first, she was acting super cocky and over the top and just downright annoying. But eventually, she chilled out and returned to her earlier, more fun and bubbly self. She started saying things like OMG, oh my god, or oh noes, kind of like speaking in chat room lingo. Like, we all remember that time. We all were there. And when she used her powers, she started saying things like tick, 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 boom for a dramatic effect. She also let her hair grow long and dropped her codename again, reappearing as part of Next Wave, a quirky, slightly ridiculous superhero team featured in a comic series by Warren Ellis and Stuart Eminem. This team was formed by HATE, H-A-T-E, which means Highest Anti-Terrorism Effort, a branch of the Beyond Corporation. Tabitha's teammates were a bunch of overlooked or forgotten Marvel characters like Monica Rambeau, who was, Captain Marvel, ex-leader of the Avengers, Elsa Bloodstone, Aaron Stack, who's actually Machine Man, and a brand new guy called The Captain. Everything seemed fine at first, but once Tabitha started poking around behind the scenes, she discovered that Beyond Corp used to be a terrorist group called Silent, and they were using HATE and the Next Wave team to carry out their secret plans. Tabitha stole the proof and showed it to Pulsar, the team leader, and Next Wave hijacked the Shockwave Rider transport ship to break away from HATE. They turned on their former bosses and fought against the bizarre WMDs that the Beyond Corporation was unleashing on America. The first weapon, Fin Fang Foom, a giant lizard that crawled out from the underground and went on a rampage. After stopping him in Abscess, North Dakota, the team headed to Illinois. There, Tabitha took down Mac Mangle, a corrupt cop possessed by something called the Ultra Samurai Seed. When the metallic shell broke and left Mangle crushed, Tabitha and Aaron started beating on him until Monica Rambeau had to step in. Next Wave was later attacked by a group called the New Paramounts, made up of old school parody characters like Forbishman, the Inedible Bulk, Charlie America. Forbishman tried to mind control Tabitha, but it backfired. Apparently, his powers didn't work on her because she has no mind. Tabitha ended up killing him and saving her teammates. When they came to, she explained what happened by saying, "The little guy did something to your heads. I gave him the Explodo because I am clever." So I guess she does have a mind. Eventually, the team exposed and took down the real mastermind behind Silent. Later on, Tabitha moved to San Francisco to help the X-Men relocation. She started using her old code name, Boom Boom again, the name we all know and love. While she was out shopping, she ran into a mutant called Nuwa. Beast forced her to handle the confrontation using brains instead of just blowing things up. So she did some research and uncovered Nuwa's abilities by using a spoof of MySpace and Facebook called FaceSpace. Turns out Nuwa's powers could be countered by stimulants. So Tabitha downed a whole mess of espresso to block them. After that, she got kidnapped along with Surge and Hellion by the Leper Queen and the Sapien League. The Queen tried to inject her with a version of the Legacy virus, one that was supposed to have been cured years ago. When the X-Force came to rescue them, Cyclops didn't want to wait for Wolverine and Domino to kill the Leper Queen, so he sent them through time instead, leaving Tabitha behind. The Leper Queen told her that she had actually planned for Wolverine to take her out, meaning take the Queen out, and to save Tabitha, since Bastion wouldn't let her die on her own terms. But with no one to stop her, she shot Tabitha between the eyes and said the X-Force had failed them both. Right after X-Force's mission in the future was done, X-23 came bursting back in the time stream and shot the Leper Queen in the head before she could take out Tabitha. With the Queen dead, Boom Boom was safe and X-23 collapsed from exhaustion as the team of Hammer agents raided the place. They gave Tabitha medical attention but took X-23 into custody. One of the agents was secretly planning to sexually take advantage of Tabitha before killing her, but Warpath showed up just in time to take out the agents, saving her once again. He brought her back to the X-Force safe house to see if she could remember anything else about her kidnapping. Boom Boom was next seen during the Utopia storyline, hanging out with other mutants in Nightcrawler's chapel as they prepared to leave San Francisco. She was in the first group teleported by Pixie to the new island base the X Club raised in the ocean. Boom Boom has also joined the battle against Professor X's monsters and attacked Utopia, teaming up with Iceman and Colossus to take them all down one by one. So that is Boom Boom, or Meltdown, or whatever else you want to call her. That is Tabitha Smith. So, like always, I have some comics for you to check out. And like always, a reminder, I have not read all of Marvel Comics. I don't plan to. So if you have any comics that you think I should check out or are a better representation of who Tabitha is as a character, please let me know in the comments. So starting off, X-Force numbers 44 through 48, Uncanny X-Men number 328, X-Factor Volume 1 number 22, X-Force number 49 to 50, and Leah Williams X-Terminators. You will have a lot of fun with that one. So thank you for listening to this breakdown of Tabitha Smith. I hope you learned a lot about Boom Boom, and be sure to like and subscribe. So have a marvelous day.